This is kind of psychedelic. Ooh. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is vlog number 61 for Monday, April the 2nd, 2018. And we're just finishing up Easter weekend, and I hope everybody had a good Easter. We did. We went over for dinner to my sister's place yesterday, Sunday. Took my mom over and the whole bit, and actually the kids were there. So kids, they're grown up now, but my nephew and my niece. And it was a pretty good time. Food was great, and we got to see their pictures from when they were in Mexico. It looked like they had a really good time. You know, I've never had any desire to go to Mexico, but after I saw their pictures of where they were staying, I think it was Puerto Vallarta, actually it looks pretty nice. And they seem to like it because they've been down there several times before. My brother-in-law's parents have a timeshare there, and they go every year. So it looks like fun, so it's a potential, I suppose. Never say never, I guess. So anyways, what else have I been working on this week? Okay, so the quilt for my quilt class, which is coming up on Friday. I've got my strips done. Actually, I got a little bit ahead because I went into the store to talk to them about something and mentioned the fact, should I be sewing all the rows together now? I got the strips made, and she said, no, I want to show you how to press it. And I went, oh, I suppose you only wanted us to just do the single strips and not put the two strips together that constitute one part of the pattern. And she said, yeah. And I said, well, I already did that. And I said, but I did check on YouTube how to you know, press them so they'd go together, and you put the seams one way on one piece, put the seams the other, and that's what I did. And my instructor said that, yep, that's what you should do. So I guess I'm okay. I thought that I'd have to have the whole thing, with the exception of like a border or binding, done by next Friday, or this Friday coming. And she said no, which is probably just as well, because some of my points don't kind of line up. It's a zigzag pattern. I showed it last week, and although it's looking pretty good. And speaking of things I am proud of, behind me I have finished my Australian quilt. So I'll get off my stool so you can have a little closer look. And there it is. And remember, this is all made out of tea towels, pretty much. And I did do quilting on it. Now, the last two quilts that I made, I only did what they call stitch in the ditch, which is when you go into the actual seams and stitch down that. This time I sort of did a halfway, and not that good, method of quilting, free motion quilting, but I used a walking foot. And I was trying to get straight lines down here, and for the most part they're fairly equal distant, but they're not completely straight. The borders, I tried to do a free motion wave design. Well, not free motion, I still had the walking foot on, but I had read that you could do, you know, some gentle curves. So I did that, and from a distance you can't tell, and I'm not going to show you, but they're not that straight. I did have some problem again with the binding. If you looked at the sewing of my binding, it is everywhere. And I just realized that my binding isn't completely even either. I'm still having trouble with bindings. So I'm going to have to, you know, watch some more videos about that. And I think the place where I'm going for my class right now, come May, when they open up new classes, I think they have one on bindings. So if they do, I'm going to definitely take it. The back of the quilt looks pretty good too. It's just a collection of the tea towels. A lot of them were leftover pieces, and I just pieced them together. And actually the back looks really good. In fact, I almost like the back better than the front. But it's done. It's a heavy quilt, because of course of what it was made out of. Again, I learned a lot when putting this together. So we move on to the next project. And what is the next project? Well, just just looking for something. Oh yeah, everything's here. Okay, let me get repositioned here. Yep. I'm going to finish that quilt that I'm taking with the class, and then I think they have a whole brand new batch of classes coming up starting in May. So I want to take quite a few classes if I can. You know, I want to take one on free motion quilting, binding, as I said, that kind of thing. And the instructor also said she might offer a class for beginners, that, you know, the basic blocks and basic things you need to know. And I think that would be good to take too, because I've been sort of rushing ahead based upon the videos that I've watched and things like that. I'm sorry if I'm looking off to this side. I repositioned the camera on this side because I thought that was more natural for me to look there, and now I'm looking the other way. Okay, so I'm trying to make eye contact, people. Anyways, yeah, I'm checking out those classes and see what's happening. And I've got a couple of projects I want to do. You saw at the very beginning of today's video my little piece of fabric. So this is a piece of canvas. That's what the back looks like. And these are acrylic paints, fluid acrylic paints, that are mixed with a medium. It's called GAC 900. It's a fabric medium. You heat set it. And on this particular package, I didn't actually use this brand because I was out, but I had one by Ranger that's much more expensive and comes in a much smaller bottle, and I used that. Now, I have a big, huge piece of canvas. My idea is that I'm going to do this kind of thing on other pieces, and I'm going to make them into tote bags or whatever. In fact, this one I think I'm going to put a zipper in it and make it into a zipper pouch. And this will be great when I go to my sewing classes. I'll be able to keep you know, my scissors and things like that in it. At least that's what I think I'm going to do. But there's one more thing I need to do with this piece. Supposedly, by putting this medium in to the paint, it becomes washable. Now, it said on the bottle I used the Rangers. It says to let this sit for 72 hours before you wash it. So after I'm done with the vlog today, I'm going to fill up a sink with some warm water, and I'm going to dunk this in and swish it about and see what happens. And you know, I like the pattern on this that I created, and I have a video as to how I did this, and I've got the link below for that. Well, no, I don't have the link below for that. I just remembered I haven't quite finished the video because I want to do this washing thing first, and I want to do that on video. But it'll probably be done today. It'll probably go up later today, so look for it. And yeah, you know, I love making fabric, my own kind of stuff. But the whole thing is it washable? Mind you, the projects that I make are not necessarily meant to be washed, so maybe I don't need to worry about that too much. But we'll see. I'll do this little experiment and let you know how that turns out. Okay, so what's coming up next? Well, I guess YouTube channel of the week. So I have one. I warn you, it is going to be about quilting. Sorry, I know I have been obsessed, as I've mentioned before, with this whole quilting thing. I really consider it art, and I want to explore the art possibilities even further, but you know, baby steps. Excuse me. And so anyways, I'm going to take you to take a look at something called the Midnight Quilt Show. And the thing about watching quilting shows, even if you're not a quilter, it's the color, it's the designs, and I find them inspiring for other projects. I guess when I was teaching school, we called those transferable skills or techniques. So a lot of the things that quilters do can be translated in other mediums like paper and things like that. So although you may not be into quilting, you might want to watch a few quilting YouTube channels just if you're having a mental block about design or something like that. So anyways, here it is. This week's YouTube channel is called The Midnight Quilt Show by Angela Walters, and I love this show. She's very quirky, she's a lot of fun, she always opens the show with a glass of red wine, a huge glass of red wine, and you know that I'm really into quilting in a big way, so I find this very useful. She makes it look, however, like you can do a quilt in a night. Maybe she can. I can't. But she's got a lot of tips. She's got a lot of designs. She's been doing this for about 4 or 5 seasons. So it's a regular show. It's very professionally done. And even if you're not a quilter, I think you might like to watch this because it's quite inspiring. So that's the Midnight Quilt Show. So I hope you might actually just watch one of Angela's videos on that YouTube. She's actually fairly famous. I think she's been quilting for quite a while. She has a line of products as well. I think she has a book or 2. And I find her instructions very clear, and her videos are very, very professional. But as she has said in one of her Q&A videos, this is her livelihood. This is a business for her. But nevertheless, I find her very entertaining. Okay, person of interest this week. Don't have one. Come on, people. Please, don't be shy. Send me anything about you. Now, if you don't want to do a whole biography about yourself and things you've been working at, maybe you have a technique or you have a link to a YouTube or a website or something that you think is very useful. Why not report on that? Send me the information, send me your review of it. And I'm talking something here that's really long. It can be a 30-second review. Loved it, this is why. Hated it, this is why. Actually, I don't want hate ones. I won't post those. I don't want to cut down somebody's YouTube channel. If you notice, just as an aside here, every YouTube channel that I talk about, I say only positive things usually about it. If I make any kind of criticism, it's very light, it's very constructive, and it's not meant to undermine what the person has done or what the time and effort the person's put into putting up that channel. So I don't want you to send me something where you rant and rave, this is the most horrible thing you've ever seen, blah, blah, blah. I want something that you genuinely find useful, that you go to on a regular basis, that you really like, and you think others might be interested in. I mean, I have my opinion, and that's what you get every week from me is my opinion. But it would be really nice if I could get other people's opinions about useful resources. It could be a product as well. It could be a magazine. It could be a book, whatever. I'm desperately trying to get more of you involved with my vlog. Okay? As I've said before, I don't want it to be all about me. Basically, that's what vlogs are, but I'd like to go a little bit beyond that because between this and Stephen and Walter Live, I think you know who I am very, very well, but I don't know who you are. So send me your information. Don't be shy. Okay. Below, I've got a list of my resources for this week. There's a link to Stephen and Walter Live, a link to the Midnight Quilt Show as well. Excuse me. And then there is, oh, and I forgot to get it. I've got to get it to show this to you. Interactive art journal page that I created. I'm going to pause the video right here while I'm thinking about it, and I'm just going to get it, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is the page. I'm actually going to teach a class on how to do this, how to make it interactive. And, oops, sorry, hit the microphone. That was probably bad. So here's my page. It's a 2-page spread, but if you notice, I've also put in these tags. And these flip across to reveal what's on the other page and basically the message. Now there's hundreds of ways to do this kind of page to make them more interactive, but I think it's kind of fun to do it, and it actually gives you a little bit more dimension in your art journal as well. You know, I think it would get somebody who's looking through your art journal, they're not just looking at your pretty pictures, they're actually playing with it as well. So anyways, I do have a video, it's linked below, of the process for this, and as I said, in my art journaling class in May that I'll be giving, I am going to actually teach that, how to do it. It's not that hard. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So anyways, that was that. And then I have a link to Spoonflower. Now Spoonflower is the company, and you've heard me talk about them before, that you can send in your own designs and they'll make material like fabric out of it, or wallpaper or wrapping paper, whatever. Now, I've only ever had material made, and I was so impressed with the first order that I made that I sent some more of my art journal pages in to have some material made. Now originally I was going to have fat quarters made, but instead I just decided to go for yardage. So I only got 1 yard of 5 designs, so I got 5 yards in total. That came to about $101 Canadian with the shipping, which I don't think is terrible. Now I'm kind of wishing I had ordered 2 yards of each one. But the one thing about Spoonflower is my design is already there in my section of their website, and anytime I want to reorder, it's really simple to do that. So here's one, and I won't open it right up, but I think that's spectacular the way that turned out. This one you have seen before because it's the very first one that I ordered, and I made a bag out of it. And used it on the back of one of my quilts as well. But I really like this design, how it turned out, and so I ordered more of that. This is another one. This is almost like a batik, but it's not. Again, these are pages that I scanned out of my art journal and then manipulated them a little bit on their website, and that's what I got. Here's another one. I'm loving the colors that are in it. I really am. In fact, they're so pretty I almost don't want to use them. And the last one. So what am I going to do with them? Well, I'm saving them to make another quilt. Okay, this is 100% cotton, and I will make another quilt. I'm going to hold off a little bit. I'm going to give making other quilts a rest until I learn some more about techniques. And speaking about learning, you probably have heard of the website called Craftsy. Craftsy is a series of courses you can buy. They're all online, and they have everything from quilting and sewing to mixed media to making, clothing, all that kind of stuff. They have hundreds and hundreds of videos. They're all very professionally done. They usually have a materials list with them and instruction sheets as well. And they're not bad price, but they range anywhere between, I think I've paid as little as $15 for a course, and they go up from there. I've seen them for $50, $60, $70, that kind of thing. It depends on what the course is on and how involved it is. But Craftsy has just come out with this unlimited membership where you pay, I think, it was around $250, something like that, American. Might have been a little bit more of that. And it's good for a year, and you have unlimited access to any class that they have. And as I said, they have hundreds of classes. I thought, I don't go there that often, why spend that kind of money? But then they came up with a special. The special was $150 Canadian for unlimited for a year. So I would say that they're probably not getting a lot of people going for the yearly membership, maybe at the price they had before. But anyways, I thought about it. I looked to see what they had as far as quilting videos were concerned. They have lots and lots and lots. And if I was to even buy a couple of those that I looked at the price, basically I'd be up to $150 with only maybe about 3 classes. So I decided I would invest in this, and I've got a 1-year membership. Now they give you 7 days free trial. They don't charge you in that 7 days for it, and if you don't like it, you can cancel it right then and there. After that, they charge you the $150 for the year. So I'm going to give it a try, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I think it's going to be worth it, actually. I really do, just based on my past experience. So anyways, I did not put the link to Craftsy below here, but it's easy. It's just Craftsy, CRAFTSY.com. So it's easy if you've never heard of it. Okay, so what's pissing me off this week? Let me clear my throat first. I don't know if it's just me right now that I'm a little super sensitive to people's criticisms or comments or whatever. And the reason I'm a little sensitive right now is because there's been a lot happening, as you know, and I don't want to get into it with my mother and that, and I'm really getting frustrated and a little discouraged. Anyways, everybody has a suggestion. And everybody is, I don't know, as I said, maybe I'm just super critical right now or super sensitive. But I'm getting a lot of, little things that people always seem to make comments about me or something I've done. Like someone will look at this quilt, for example, first thing they might say is, oh, your stitching's crooked. Yeah, it is. I'm my own worst critic. I will point these things out to people. Or when I'm really proud of something or whatever, somebody always comes back to me with, some little minor criticism. And it gets my goat. And then it makes me think, do I do the same thing to other people? Well, not to their face, maybe behind their back. No, but seriously, I don't think I do. I might think it, but I don't think I actually do it to their face, unless it's somebody I don't like. Then maybe I do it to them. But they don't matter. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. It's hard to tell what we do, what we think we do, and what we actually do. We can't see ourselves as other people see us. But it just makes me aware of the fact that although it's maybe a minor thing that someone has said or something you say to somebody, it can hurt. It can hurt. And that's not nice. So I am going to try to be a little bit more conscious of those kind of comments that I might make out in public. Bad habits are hard to break, but I just think about myself and how I feel when somebody, put on a shirt, oh, I really like the shirt. It's got a nice color to it. Yeah, it kind of clashes with your skin tone. Oh, okay, fine. Did you need to tell me that? I'm making that one up, but that kind of thing. Do you need to tell me that? I come from a family that's super critical. Always have been, usually of me, or things that I've done, or what I'm doing, or what I've said, or what I've thought, or anything like that. And I have to admit, sometimes Walter does the same thing to me. He doesn't do it on purpose. That's just his nature. Walter's a very exacting person. So, he can't let it go if he sees something that's not quite right. He has to make a comment about it. And depending on my moods, I am an emotional person, I can get really ticked off over the slightest thing. So that's something I have to watch. So what's pissing me off? One, how sensitive I can be to nothing. That's about me. Shouldn't get my knickers in a knot. And two, just, we have to be aware that things that we say cannot be taken back, and that although we think it might be minor to somebody else, it might be a major criticism and it might really hurt their feelings, and that's not good. So anyways, that's it. Might have been a little bit of a lame pissed off, but quite frankly, I'm running out of things to be pissed off about. Maybe that's a good thing. Okay. All right. So product reviews. I got some more Tim Holtz stencils. If you know me, you know I love Tim Holtz products, although I'm starting to slow down on them a little bit. I'm beginning to find that Tim doesn't have a lot of things that are new anymore. He, I think he's come to his limit, and I don't think it's necessarily lack of creativity on his part. I think it might be just that the industry, the scrapbooking industry, is super saturated right now with everything, and anything anybody comes out that's new, it's just a theme or a variation on a theme, I think, maybe. Or maybe it's just that I've been in this game so long that nothing excites me anymore. But I do collect the Tim Holtz stencils, and here are 3 more of his. And his stencils now, I think, are leaning more towards art journaling, I think, in his designs. His original stencils, the early ones, he used to demonstrate on tags all the time, and he still does. But I think he really had that more in his design because he's a real, tag maker. But now he's, opening it up more to the world of art journaling, and I love his stencils, and I have them all. They're up to 106, I think, right now. His stencils and Mike Deacon's are about the only 2 stencils that I actually use and I collect. And Mike's got a couple of new ones coming out. I just did the pre-order on his April ones too. I've got other stencils from other manufacturers like the Crafters Workshop, Belzer Designs. There's tons out there. Stencil Girl, things like that. How many stencils does one need? 1. really. You could do everything you ever wanted with a decent stencil. Why do I have hundreds of stencils that I never use? Because I like to collect stencils. And I'm an idiot. Go figure. But anyways, I've got those. Now, I had just said that Tim Holtz hasn't come out with anything much new. He has come out, though, with something called Distress Spray Resist. Or Distress Resist Spray. Oops, I'm trying to get the glare off. Is this new? No. What does it do? Well, I'm going to talk about that. Do you have to buy his, or can you do something else on a little cheaper level? Yes, you can. All right. What does it do? Okay, I'm going to show you an art journal background that I did with it. See these white dots? You can't feel it, but these are raised. I sprayed his resist spray through a stencil, let it dry, and it dries fairly quickly. And then I added his inks. I used actually his spray distress inks on this page. And then it'll wipe off because it won't absorb anything that's a water-soluble product. So most of Tim Holtz's inks are water-soluble. So that's what I used on that. It does give a really cool effect. You can also, when it's still wet, use it with your embossing powders. Now here I just spritzed. I didn't bother to really, well, I did do it through a Harlequin spray, but some of it leaked underneath the stencil, so it didn't really come out clear, but that's okay. Yes, so you can use it for heat embossing as well, which is kind of cool. I haven't tried it yet with some of his other products like his distress crayons, that kind of stuff, but again, anything that's water soluble, it will resist. Now, why would you want something like this? Well, it's a quick way to add texture and dimension to a page, to a card, to an art journaling page, to a tag. So yeah, it's a good product, but it's not a cheap product. At my store that I go to, I think I spent $11.89 Canadian on it. I know that they advertise it in the States for around $7, $8 a bottle as well, so about right. And it's not a huge bottle, although you don't use a lot of it. However, can you do this with other products? Well, I went online and I happened to find a video where a lady was doing her own DIY resist sprays. So I thought I'd give it a try and I'd just do some comparison. So I'm going to show you my comparison right now. Originally I was going to do this as a separate video, but it didn't take long to do the comparison. So you saw on this page, that's all with Tim Holtz's resist spray. So I mixed up some, let me find them here, some glossy accents, which is another Ranger product and it's been around for years. It's kind of a clear glue. 50% water, 50% glossy accents. In a spray bottle, shake it up, squirt it out. Did the same thing as I did with the page you saw using the Tim Holtz. I used the same stencil, and this is what I got. Now, yes, some of it went under the stencil, but that's my fault, not the fault of the product. But basically, it works. It dries about the same as well, which makes me wonder if that's all this is. Glossy accents and water. Maybe. I don't know. But it did work. Now, I also had something called Triple Thick, which is an artist's varnish, but it's a clear coating, and it is very thick. It's almost like a gel, almost. It's pourable. I tried it. I got it. Someone was talking about it for actually for when I was doing acrylic pourings for, you know, protecting the canvas after you're done, putting over top of it. And I tried it as opposed to just artist varnish, and I like artist varnish a little bit better than the Triple Thick, because the Triple Thick, because it's so thick, traps air bubbles, and you got to be careful. But I thought, let's try it. So I mixed it up. 50% water, 50% Triple Thick. And here's what I got. Now, you see these runs and things like that? That's basically, I used the same stencil. It seemed to be, after I mixed it up with the water, seemed a little bit runnier than the glossy accents. but it still works. And it gives a cool effect. So I mean, if you happen to have either some glossy accents or some triple thick laying around, and you know, you want to try a resist technique, but you know, you don't want to run down to get a bottle of this, you can mix up your own and give that a try. The third thing I tried was actual artist varnish. Now, artist varnish, at least the brand that I have, is very, very runny, very fluid. So I thought, I'm not going to add water to it. I'm just going to put it in a spray bottle, and that's all I did. There's no water in here. This is just artist varnish. And went through the stencil. It's a little thinner than the glossy accents and the original, Tim Holtz's original resist spray, but it works too. So, you know, you have alternatives. And the YouTube video that I saw, the lady was using something by Mod Podge called Dimensional Glue or Dimensional Magic. I think that was the name of it. And it's just one of the Mod Podge products watered down. And, you know, I think if you bought some of the clear Mod Podge, well, I think all Mod Podge dries clear. It does. Actually, you just add a little bit of water to ordinary Mod Podge, put it in a spray bottle, and I'll bet you'll get a resist with it too. Maybe. I don't know. I have to try that to see. Anyways, there's alternatives to this product. It's kind of cool, but it's kind of expensive for what it is. So I've given you some cheaper versions that you may have the stuff at home to make up for yourself. It's just 50% water, 50% glossy accents, the Mod Podge stuff, triple thick. If you're using artist varnish, use it full strength. If it's really fluidy, don't put any water with it. Okay, so that was also my inspiration for the week. I'm going to play a little bit more with this, with maybe some other products too, to see what other kind of backgrounds I could create with it. I'm actually going to talk about that in my art journaling class that is coming up this Sunday, and I'm going to give a little demo. Since they won't all have this, I'm probably not going to tell them about how you can make your own. Shh, our secret. Mainly because I'm teaching this class in a store, and you know, be a little unfair to the owner to say, oh, don't buy this stuff when you can make your own for half the price. Okay, that's not good business, so I'm not going to do that. So shh. Okay, book of the week. Going through my stash, came across this. I don't know why it's been sitting on the shelf, and I haven't done anything much with it. It's called New Creative Collage Techniques. It's a hardcover book with spiral binding, but inside it's got all kinds of different techniques for doing collage. And yeah, I'm gonna have to go through this again, and you know, to remember what's in it. I don't know why it's been sitting on the shelf, really. It should be using it because it's very useful. It says it's got 60 projects from 60 artists. So a great book for inspiration. Price-wise, wasn't cheap. I paid $31.50 Canadian for it. However, I think you can get it for less. And I gave you a link. I think I gave you a link. Yes. It's a very long link. New Creative Collage Techniques by Nita, Leland. Now that's an Amazon. I don't know why that was Amazon.com. I don't know why I got such a long URL for that. But anyways, I'm sure you can just put the title into Amazon too if you don't want to click on the link and order it if you so desire. Anyways, I think it's a really good book. Lots of great ideas in it. Pricey, yes. Okay, what's that bring me to for today? Well, events in the past week. Yesterday, as I told you, we had Easter dinner at my sister's. That was nice. And oh yeah, so event this week. Yesterday, brunch. We made some, and when I say we, I mean Walter, made some soft-boiled eggs, and with fingers. I love fingers, you know, little pieces of toast, buttered toast cut up so you can dip them in the egg. Yeah, that brings me back to my childhood. Anyways, we had some Gouda cheese, like real Gouda cheese, because we went to the Dutch bakery that's in our area yesterday as well. And Walter got some meat, some sliced meat. Now, I thought he was getting some Montreal smoked meat because he loves Montreal smoked meat. Anyways, he says, do you want to try some of that meat I got yesterday? He said, it's a little bit on the salty side. So I said, sure. So I had a little piece of it, and it's very thinly cut. It's like prosciutto in a way. So I ate that, and then he tells me what it really was. Horse meat. It's horse meat. Now, apparently, Walter, I think it's something that's Dutch, possibly European, I guess. The Dutch like horse meat. I mean, the thought of eating horse, to me, is a little put off. It's not that big of a put off. It's just not something we as Canadians often see in the grocery store, if at all. What did it taste like? Very, very salty. Not a horrible, I mean, if I didn't know it was horse meat, and I didn't when I first tasted it, then it was fine. Now I know that it's horse meat, though, I don't know if I want any more of it. Kind of weird. But anyways, you know, you might want to see if you can get some horse meat. I don't know if you're interested in horse meat. So that was it. Oh, of course it was. Excuse me. It was April. Was it April Fool's? No. Yes, today's the 2nd. So yeah, yesterday was April Fool's. So I guess that was his April Fool's joke on me. I guess. So what else is coming up? Well, I've got my 3rd sewing class, 3 out of 4. And I already mentioned that about the other quilt that I'm making, the zigzag. And that's on Friday night. And also this Friday night is RMG Fridays, which is the monthly event that Walter and I usually volunteer for at the art gallery. I won't be there because I'm at sewing class, but Walter's going. Heaven forbid he wouldn't get his time in to lop off some fingers if they try to touch the art. And you know, I'm not really that disappointed about not being able to go this Friday night, because I'm really not into the installations they have right now. They have one about Tom Thomson. Tom Thomson, if you don't know who he is a famous Canadian painter. He he's often mistaken as being a member of the Group of Seven, but he wasn't a member of the Group of Seven. He was just a little ahead of that group. And the big thing is, besides his paintings, is that he was an outdoorsman and an avid canoeist. And he was in Algonquin Park, which is northern part of Ontario. And it's a huge, huge nature wilderness kind of a thing that's protected, many, many little lakes in it and that kind of thing. And he was out canoeing and something happened. Nobody knows to this day exactly. There's been a mystery around it, but he died. They don't know if he drowned, if he was attacked by somebody or by something or what. Always been a big mystery. Now this happened in around the early 1900s, in the 19-teens or something like that. And there's been that mystery around it ever since. Anyways, this display, this installation, that's what we call it at the art gallery, is all about his paintings, and they've created some kind of it's 85% true, fictional narrative based on his friendship with another guy and some diary pages they found. And it's supposed to be an interactive display as well, where you hold your cell phone up, you get the little app, and you hold up your cell phone to these various barcode things, and it'll tell you something, but it's designed as a game, and it's multiple choice. It doesn't work very well. Some of it is supposed to take you to YouTube, to a video clip to watch, and it takes you somewhere else. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or there's quirks in it. I haven't been able to talk to anybody about it. But overall, the Tom Thomson interactive display is boring. Way too much information that you have to use your cell phone to pick up using this app. Nobody, unless they're a real enthusiast for Tom Thomson, is actually going to read all that stuff. It would have been better put on, I think, little placards and a summarized version of it over each display. All the stuff, with the exception of his actual artwork, there's a canoe, big deal. There's a couple of letters in a glass case, big deal. Don't find it that interesting, that exciting. The paintings are the saving grace. They're worth seeing because they don't go out to other art galleries very often. they're in an art gallery in Owen Sound, which is way north of here, and it's the area that Tom Thompson hung out in, and they have them there under lock and key. You can go up there and take a look at them. So this is kind of rare. They should be loaned out as a traveling show, some of the pieces. But as far as the interactive elements and all of that, it just doesn't seem to work. It doesn't work for me. So that's why I'm not upset about not going to be there on Friday night, because often I talk about the art to people if they look like they're interested. I can't talk about this. One, I don't like it, the display. So if it's something I don't like, if I'm not really enthralled with it, then I know that no matter how much I try, that is going to come across in what I say, and that's not particularly good for the patrons of the art gallery. And second of all, I don't know much about it because I missed all the curatorial talks about it when it went up because we were in Australia. So biding my time here, and I'm hoping the next installations that go up are going to be a little bit more interesting, and I'll be a little bit more with it so I can talk about them when that happens. Anyways, that's on Friday night. Just a final note here before I sign off for today. I want to thank you for your patience with me. I know I have been obsessed lately with a couple of things. I've been obsessed, of course, with quilt making. And thank you for your kind comments about it. You know, that's really nice that you say that, because I'm enjoying it. But I've got to get off that and get on to some other things here a little bit. You know, same old, same old. And I've talked a lot about my mother and the trials and tribulations that we're going through right now with her situation. And I apologize for both of those things. I seem to be obsessed with them, and I'm talking to you about them. And some of you have given me some very helpful advice with that, and I thank you again for that. But I'm going to try my best to move on, to bring things to you that I think you're going to be interested in, and get away from my obsessions. So anyways, I hope you have a good week. And Stephen and Walter Live will be probably 1 hour later this coming Sunday, because I am teaching an art journaling class, and it's not over till 4 o'clock. So by the time I get home, get set up for it, it'll probably be 5 o'clock. So I may or may not remember to put out a early notification about that. But just so you know, those of you that watch Stephen and Walter Live, it will be at approximately 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time next Sunday, okay? Which is what, the 8th? Yeah, April 8th. Okay, so thanks for watching me this week. I hope you have a good week, and see you all later. Bye-bye.